It's always a great time. The stock market is the greatest wealth creator. Think about this. You could be partners. That's really what a stock is. A stock is a piece of a business.
It makes all the sense in the world to take your money and buy pieces of probably the greatest businesses in the world that have dominant market share, run by outstanding CEOs that continue to expand their market share and increase profits. So I don't know of a easier way to make money than to buy a piece of a great business at a great price and just sit and wait. And patience is the key, and you'll make money. That's the way it works.
By owning the right stocks, the right companies, they'll march through bull and bear markets, high and low inflation, high and low interest rates. It really doesn't make a difference. On October 6th of 1987, I moved all my clients from stocks into cash. I can't remember the exact numbers, it was a long time ago, but at the time we were up somewhere around 25% on the year. 2 weeks later, the market had its worst day in history, down 22% in a single day. It's called Black Monday. Now, as I remember it, that year we finished up something like 22% and the S&P was up only 5%. Our phones were ringing off the hook, both from people wanting us to invest their money and the media, of course. It wasn't long before we had $200 million under management. And in 1998, we had a banner year. I remember opening up Barron's and saying, holy smokes, we're number one. We had the top investment banks on our books as clients. I made them a lot of money. There was nothing wrong with that. But many of the so-called professionals on Wall Street are big on greed and pretty light on morals. That's just not how I was brought up. It's not who I am as a person. I shifted my focus to showing Main Street folks, like my parents, how to make money in the market. And I've never looked back. Then, in December of 1999, I warned my clients, we are seeing the worst technical readings the market has seen in over a decade. There continues to be an intense speculation that reminds us of the late 1920s. 4 months later, the dot-com bubble burst and stocks plunged. In 2005, I warned of the housing bubble, stating, all the arguments that we heard close to 20 years ago about the eternal housing bull market are playing out again. Sure enough, the housing bubble popped and triggered the 2008 financial crisis. December 2021. Everyone was raving about all the profits they made in tech stocks. I published a statement warning that our current market was crazier than the dot-com bubble. I told everyone to sell speculative tech stocks. 1 month later, tech stocks cratered and the bear market was unleashed. We were as working class as you can get. Growing up, the only person I knew on Wall Street was my uncle. He waited tables in the New York Stock Exchange dining room. So when I first set foot on the trading floor, it really blew my mind. Looking back, I probably had more guts than sense. I didn't have a fancy degree. My grades at high school, well, I didn't graduate at the top of my class, that's for sure. But I never let school get in the way of my education. I was always reading and continue to be an avid reader today. So I had to find a hack to make up for my lack of experience and knowledge. I was always able to find people older, smarter, and with more experience than myself and ask them for advice.
So the way I came up with the approach is through years of being in the managing money and being on Wall Street. And I saw that most people look at stocks as nothing more than lines on a chart. They don't, they look at a stock as just wiggles and jiggles on a chart, or they look at it as a lottery ticket. They don't even know what the company does, but they look at the ticker and they'll buy it and they'll sell it and they have no concept. It makes all the sense in the world to take your money and buy pieces of probably the greatest businesses in the world that have dominant market share, run by outstanding CEOs that continue to expand their market share and increase profits. So I don't know of a easier way to make money than to buy a piece of a great business at a great price and just sit and wait. And patience is the key, and you'll make money. That's the way it works.
I want to see an industry that's growing, because you can't really do well in an industry which is not growing. Second, since we're not running the business, we want to have a great leader, really a partner, I should say, that'll manage the day-to-day. We want a company that's financially sound. So we want a business where the economics make sense and the business is highly profitable. We want a strong balance sheet, not to get into the accounting terms. And it could destroy your best investment thesis if you pay too high a price. So that's why we only want to buy them when we get them at a bargain price. My goal is to make stock investing simple and success, well, inevitable, no matter what the markets, the economy, or Washington throw our way. That's why I created my flagship research service, Alpha Investing. With a few simple clicks on your laptop or a tap on our smartphone app, you'll have all my research and recommendations right at your fingertips. Over 100,000 people in more than 120 countries have already joined Alpha Investor. Even former governors, CEOs, best-selling authors, and Navy SEALs receive my insights. Use an approach that is even remotely close to ours. That's 1 out of 10. And I think I have an idea why. Our Alpha approach requires burning the midnight oil. It takes a lot of research to dig behind the numbers and figure out the business, the industry, the management, a whole bunch of other things. In other words, it's not easy. It's much easier to buy what everyone else is buying, whatever's moving higher, or invest based on rumors or tips, or jumping in and jumping out when everyone else does. That's why most investors don't make money investing in stocks. How could they? Think of it this way. How could you outperform the market if you invest like the market? In other words, like everyone else. Am I right? Our approach requires work, turning page after page after page of annual reports and SEC filings. And here's the thing. I do it all for you. And I give you one recommendation a month. We have a great partnership. I do the heavy lifting and you get to make the money. That's a great deal. We're not afraid of stepping out. We don't invest because others agree or disagree with us. This isn't a popularity contest. We buy because our facts and analysis are right. We're confident in our decisions and we don't need confirmation. Bottom line, folks, we think differently than other investors. That's why we make money. Let me show you what I mean. Of course, I don't always get it right, and no, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do stack the odds in your favor because I know what to look for. You see, each month, I select a single investment I believe has the greatest potential to make you money. To be clear, I don't only recommend technology stocks. That means my favorite stock of the month could be a healthcare recommendation, or an insurance company, or even a banking company. So here's how it works. I'm going to coach you on how to invest, when to invest, and where to invest. If you follow my advice like a personal trainer, you're going to see results. And I'll give you access to my insights and know-how through my Alpha Investor Report. I'm Charles Mizrahi, and thanks for watching.